Hello everyone, this video is again in the continuation of the NAFIS preparations, and we're going to cover today another learning outcome and some of its indicators. Let's start with today's recording and work. In this part we are going to practice a learning outcome 2 and indicator number 1 from this learning outcome. What is it about? Answering questions about the text indirect information. That means if its information is indirect, that means it's not written, it's not stated. Then we'll see what is defining the topic of the text and then ask certain kind of questions like explanatory questions, deductive questions, analytical questions, or critical questions. Consider the following example here. As Ibrahim stepped out of the building, he tightened his scarf and walked briskly to his car. His breath formed small clouds in the air as he hurried along the icy walk. Now let's look at the question first. What can be inferred about the weather based on the text above? So the options are: it is cold and icy, possibly winter. It is raining heavily. It is warm and sunny. It is hot and humid. If you look at this question, this kind of information about weather is not directly stated, and all of the options with these words are not stated anyway. However, we can use the words like using the scarf. We know in which weather scarves are used, and when do we form small clouds while breathing, and also the icy sidewalk. So these are giving us some information about that it's referring to cold weather. So the possible answer is it is cold and possibly winter. However, it's not directly mentioned in the text that it's winter and it's cold. However, we infer the text. So we found out indirect information that's not directly stated. Next part of the video is about defining a text topic. What it is. Defining the topic involves identifying the main subject or focus of the text. It requires understanding the primary idea the author is addressing, usually found through the main idea, supporting details, or recurring themes within the text. Let's consider the next example here. There's a text in front of us, and we will try to determine using the details what could be the topic of this. Forests are vital for life on Earth. They provide oxygen, store carbon, and support diverse ecosystems. Forests also offer resources like wood and medicine, which are essential for human use. However, deforestation threatens these benefits, causing loss of habitat, climate change, and soil erosion. So now, if we have to give this text a title, how are we gonna do that? For example, what is it about? The text is about forests, and it tells us about their role, what do they provide, and how do they support, like by providing oxygen, they store carbon, and support diverse ecosystems. So now this information is enough for us to determine the topic of this text. So if we have to give it a topic, we can give it the topic like forests. Now we can conclude that the topic for this text could be forests. Or if we look at the details, we can also give this text another title. This title could be Importance of Forests in it. This part of the video deals with the next part of our learning indicator, and this one is answering explanatory questions. What is it? You're going to find it later after we read the text. Let's consider this text first. Rainbows occur when sunlight passes through raindrops in the atmosphere. The light is reflected or bent and then reflected inside the droplet before exiting. The process splits the light into its component colors, creating a spectrum. So, if we consider the question that's on your screen now, how does the text explain the formation of a rainbow? This question itself asks for an explanation of a thing that's mentioned in the text. Now, if we go back to the text, they are formed when sunlight passes through raindrops in the atmosphere. The light is refracted or bent and then reflected inside the droplet before exiting. Now, if we go and see the options that we have here, option A, rainbows form due to sunlight scattering randomly in the sky. B, rainbows form when sunlight passes through raindrops, is reflected, and then split into the component colors. Rainbows appear because of the mixing of sunlight and water vapor in the clouds. And rainbows are created by the evaporation of water droplets in the atmosphere. But if we go back to the text to see the answer, B is the right answer, as explained in the text itself. So this kind of question is called explanatory question that asks for an explanation of something that is mentioned in the text. Now we move on to the second type of question, and this kind of question is called deductive question. Let's read the text, and I'll explain to you what kind of questions are deductive questions. John left his office at 6 p.m. and it usually takes him 30 minutes to drive home. However, the weather report mentioned heavy traffic due to rain, which might cause delays. Let's go to the question itself to determine how is it a deductive question. Now, if you see here, the question is John left his office at 6 p.m. and there is heavy traffic due to rain. Now, what time is he likely most likely to arrive home? And the options are 6:30, 6:45, 7 p.m., or 7:15 p.m. Again, we have to deduce using our common sense and the context of the given situation to answer this question because the text doesn't mention it directly. But if we look at a certain information that his leaving time is 6 p.m. and normally he reaches at 6:30. So that means if there is a traffic and there is a delay, that means he's going to reach after that particular time. So if his house is very near and he may reach his 6:45 p.m., 7 p.m., or any other time. So what we are clear about one thing is that he's going to reach after 6:30 p.m. So depending upon the traffic, let's put here 7 p.m. as his reaching time. As it's not very late, we didn't consider 6:45, it's very near. We didn't consider 7:55, it's very far. So like at 30 minutes late, we can deduce this thing from the text. But the thing that normally we deduce is that he's gonna reach later than his normal time, though the time is not mentioned directly in the text.